Today we're going to have a look at the brand new wilder hero, Trishea the Astral Oracle. Now this hero wears cloth-based gear, is part of the mage class, and her primary role is to provide a significant amount of damage for your teammates. In addition, she'll also provide a couple of debuffs that will be applied to the enemies. So let's have a look at her skills. Now this hero is special in terms of how she uses her energy. Now, unlike other heroes, once they have 1,000 points of energy, they will immediately use their ultimate skill. However, Trishea, once she has a certain amount of feathers, in this case 7, she'll use her ultimate ability. Now, Trishea uses energy in order to buff herself similar to Odin, where she'll buff her attack rating, magical pierce, and various other secondary stats that can supercharge her damage. So let's have a look at her ultimate skill, which has a passive and an active component. Trishea launches her normal attack according to the guidance of the stars, in the form of either luminance or eclipse. Now, these two buffs will be dependent on this specific ability, Destiny Teller, which I'll get on in a couple of abilities. After following the guidance, she receives one feather of fate. Luminance. So luminance will be primarily used when there is a significant amount of enemies on the battlefield, and eclipse is when there is slowly but surely one of the enemies has died. So the more enemies there are, the more she'll benefit from luminance, and the fewer that enemies there are on the battlefield, then she'll gain more benefit from eclipse. So over here, she'll deal a small AoE damage to all enemy heroes for a certain portion of her attack rating, and eclipse, she deals damage to the enemy hero with the highest current health for a portion of her attack rating. And the active component, or when she uses her ultimate ability, when she has 7 feathers, Trishea deals damage to enemies in a path of a glittering arc for 300% of Trishea's attack rating. When using her ultimate, Trishea requires 7 feathers, but does not consume any energy. Trishea cannot receive energy when her skill Starlight Plumes, which is this ability over here, is still locked. The level 2 increases the damage dealt for both her ultimate ability from 350 to 400%. Now, she's extremely position centric. So depending on where you place her, if you place her in the back middle position, she will deal the most amount of damage to the enemies, as she can hit at least 3 enemy heroes. However, if you place her in the top or bottom position, she might hit 1 or 2 enemy heroes. So let's have a look at her next skill. This is the Starlight Plume. Trishea recovers energy, but at a reduced rate of 90%. Now, this is the buff that I mentioned, where each time she gains energy, she'll gain specific buffs. The energy she receives each time cannot exceed 50 points, and for every 200 points of energy that she possesses, she'll gain 2 points of magical pierce. Now, this is further increased to 4 and 6 from here, from the level 2 and 3, so she can have a grand total of 30 points of magical pierce to buff herself. And the level 4 reduces the energy recovery to 60%. This is down from 90%. Now, this is the luminance and the eclipse buffs that I was mentioning. Trisha's outcome from observing the universe receiving guidance becomes more stable. The more surviving enemies, the more likely guidance will be luminance. And when there are 5 enemy heroes, the chances of luminance occurring is 100%. And the fewer the enemies there are on the battlefield, then eclipse will occur. A rotating buff that will give her more damage for either more single target or AoE damage. So at the level 2, the damage is increased to 130%, and the level 3, luminance and eclipse reduce the defense rating of damaged enemies by 40% for 4 seconds, and 30 engravings. Damage dealt by enemy heroes hit by luminance within 1.5 seconds does not exceed 10% of their max health of the target. Each enemy can trigger this effect once every 4 seconds, and damage taken by enemy heroes each time they are hit by eclipse within 1.5 seconds is at least 300% of Trishea's attack rating. So the more investment that you have in Trishea, the more damage she'll be able to do, either to a group of enemies or single target. So let's have a look at the next ability over here, Astral Mystery. Each feather received by Trishea causes her ultimate skill Stellar Guidance to deal additional effects to enemies. Each feather received after eclipse increases the damage taken by the target for a certain duration, and each received after luminance deals additional health loss to the target for a portion of Trisha's attack rating. So as we can see, it is 30% of Trisha's attack rating, and this is the increase in damage that the enemy will take for 6 seconds. After using her ultimate skill, Stellar Guide, the additional effect will reset. So this will alternate between both effects. The level 2 increases the damage buff of each feather to 10%, so this is up from 5%, so this is double. And the level 3 increases the health lost all the way to 50%, so this is from 30 all the way to 50%. And the 60 engravings, when using her ultimate skill, at full energy, Trishea will immediately use her ultimate skill once more. The additional effects granted her ultimate skill from the skill Astral Mystery will be reset after the ultimate skill is used again, so she can continually gain the various buffs, either the increase in damage or the health lost. So let's have a look at her signature item. So when you unlock her signature item, Cosmic Revelation, while observing the universe, so this is this ability over here, Destiny Teller. So this is the luminance and the eclipse buffs. Trishea is immune to control effects, so this is a pretty significant buff. The level 10, while observing the universe, Trishea receives additional damage reduction, so this is 35%, so this is pretty significant. The level 20, each feather of fate received by Trishea permanently increases her initial attack rating by 2%. So this is any additional feathers. So the longer the battle, the more attack rating that she'll permanently receive. And level 30 signature item, each feather of fate received by Trishea permanently increases her initial attack rating by 4%. So the longer the battle, the stronger she'll become. So let's have a look at her furniture. Oracle's notes. For every 50 points of energy received, Trishea immediately receives 1 feather of fate, up to 20 feathers of fate. Such feathers of fate will render the additional effects granted to Trishea's ultimate skill the same as granted by feathers of fate the last time she received guidance. And the 9 of 9, when Trishea's energy is full, she receives 1 feather of fate every 3 seconds. So what you want her to do is gain as many feathers of fate so she can constantly use her Stellar Guide to deal massive amounts of damage to their enemies. Such feathers of fate will render the additional effects of Trishea's ultimate skill the same as those granted by the feathers of fate last time she received guidance. So the guidance is from this Destiny Teller, where she either gains the eclipse or the luminance buffs for her. So let's have a look at how she does in battle. So let's start over here from this wooden dummy over here. So she's, as I said before, she's extremely position focused. So as we can see over here, if you place her in this front position over here, she'll only be able to hit the hero over here directly in front of her and the enemy directly behind. Now, if you place her in the back middle position where this mage is standing, she'll be able to hit all 3 enemies with her ultimate skill. So as we can see over here, she has 7 feathers. Now I'm going to click on Alt, and you can see the little arc that appears and deals massive damage to the enemies. Now, as we can see, even though she has full energy, this simply gives her the passives such as attack rating buffs, the magical pierce, and various other buffs for her. However, only once she has 7 feathers, that is why you want her to keep on gaining these feathers so she can keep buffing herself and dealing more and more damage as the battle continues. So let's have a look at how she does at a much higher level deficit. Now, this is a 200 level deficit. So as we can see over here, if I place her at the bottom, she does significantly less damage. However, if you place her in another position, such as in Mihira's position over here, she'll do significantly more damage. However, the back middle position is extremely important, as a lot of heroes like to be placed in this position, as they'll be able to deal more damage or be able to use their control effects, such in this case Mihira, more effectively. So in this case, I've placed her in the back and she's not doing the amount of damage. However, when I place her in the back middle position, as in this specific case over here, we can see that she's doing a significant amount of damage. So what is the minimum investment that I would recommend into this hero? Now, I would firstly recommend getting a 30 out of 30 signature item. The reason for this gives her 3 critical buffs, immunity to control, significant damage reduction, and a permanent increase to attack rating the longer the battle lasts. So as we can see over here, the more feathers of fate that she has or can generate throughout the battle, the more attack rating that she can have. And in this, some cases, she can even gain double her attack rating, which is a pretty significant buff. In addition, I would highly recommend also getting her 9 out of 9 furniture, as this synergizes extremely well with her signature item, as each time she gains a feather, and the faster you can gain feathers, the more damage that Trishea over here can deal. So as we can see over here, every 50 energy, she'll gain 1 feather, and at full energy, she'll gain 1 feather every 3 seconds. So this allows her to use her ultimate faster and allows her to gain all the other secondary stats that are extremely beneficial for her. Now, I would only recommend getting her 30 engravings. The reason for this, as this gives a significant amount of secondary stats such as haste, attack rating, and various other defensive stats for her, and this also gives her a significant amount of damage. However, I do not recommend getting her 60 out of 60 engravings, as this does not give her enough damage in order to be extremely effective in the end game, as most games currently are extremely burst orientated, where games usually last between 10 to 20 seconds.